I bet you've been told to hit up on your driver, but I'm here to tell you that could actually be making you worse. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it in such a way that actually makes you a better golfer. That's not going to get it done in this hole. That was big, slice, high, out to the right, and hasn't gone particularly far. So why did that slice? Well, I did hit up on the golf ball. So I ticked that box. You can see my attack angle was significantly up. But what you're going to find for many golfers is that you get that. You get a high slice. And if you're someone who already slices it, it's going to make it worse. So why does that happen? And then we'll dive into the correct way to do it. Well, if you look at that golf swing I just made, you'll see that I just basically kept myself way behind the golf ball. I was kind of almost falling back when I hit it. Now what that does is it causes me to hit the golf ball much later in the swing. So my golf club has got more time to bottom out and then move upwards through the golf ball. So I'm more likely to be hitting up on the golf ball. We saw that from the data. But what we also have to realise is that when I hit the ball later in the arc, the golf club is travelling somewhere else. So the golf club, when we hit the ball later in the arc, is travelling more and more to the left. So this golf club at this stage in my swing is travelling significantly up, but way to the left. So when we catch the ball later in the swing, two things happen. We hit more up, great, we saw that from the data, but you also swing more left. And that left swing creates that slice. So there's a better way to do it, which is going to get you to hit up on it to maximise that distance, get you to hit it further, but keep the ball in play and actually work towards a little bit of a draw. This alignment stick is going to represent my golf swing. So you can see it there. It's sort of on an arc. It's never travelling in a straight line. So if I set it here, the low point of my golf swing currently is exactly where the ball is. So I wouldn't be hitting up. I wouldn't be hitting down. I'd be hitting perfectly level. But I'd also have my swing path pretty straight. On that first demonstration, all I did is I shifted my circle back. So you can see that from that face on camera now, I would be hitting up on the golf ball, but you can see from that down the line, I would be hitting significantly left, and that is the issue. What I would rather you do, and I'm going to teach you how to do this in this video with some pretty simple drills, is to take this circle that you swing on and twist it. So watch what happens if I twist my swing more out to the right. Well, when I twist it more out to the right, two things happen. Number one, the lowest part of that swing moves back behind the golf ball. So that means I will hit up on the ball, so that's tick that box. But look at where the club will be travelling. It will be travelling still pretty straight. So what we need to do is we need to learn how to not move the circle back, but how to shift the circle and change what we call the swing direction more out to the right. So how do we change swing direction, which is ultimately twisting your circle more out to the right? Well, I'm going to run you through a kind of series of drills or exercises. I'd love you to do these. It's going to create some different feels that I think you've had before, and then once we start to layer those up and hit some shots, you'll see how it sort of creates this much better swing direction. We get that attack angle that we want, but we keep the ball in play. And the first little drill I want you to do is quite an extreme drill, but you're going to make a regular backswing. So you're going to make your normal backswing. But then what I want you to do is simply take the club head and put it on the ground behind you. So it's behind me, it's actually outside of my heels. So I'm simply going to go to the top, put the club head on the ground, and then from there, I'm going to now rotate my body through and swing my arms right the way through to a finish. Now, if we look at that again and look at the specifics, there's two things that are really happening there that are quite significant. The first thing would be, for me to put the glove on the ground in the place that I described, what does my rotation do? Nothing. My rotation of my body is non-existent, it's not there. But what are my arms doing relative to my body? They're lowering. And then from here, what do we then do? We then turn through and we swing our arms this way. Now, for many of you who struggle to hit up on the golf ball at the moment, it will often be because you have the opposite movements. You'll have plenty of body rotation, but then the arms tend to swing down much later. So you can see what that does to the attack angle. It's more likely to make it more negative hitting down. So the only way that you can hit up on the ball with that swing shape is just to sort of leave everything back and hope that you hit the ball late enough. That's when we get those slices. So that first little exercise is really changing that relationship. If I try and put the club on the ground, but as I do that I turn, It's really hard to do that. So simply putting the club on the ground, then turning is the first little exercise. Now, if you just look at what the club head is doing through the impact zone, when I do that drill, if I do it kind of slow motion, it's on the ground turning, look where the club head is coming in from, and it's going to start to swing up off the ground. So it's very, very clear from that demonstration that my club is travelling up, but it's also travelling out to the right. If you can hit up on the ball and swing pretty straight, if not to the right, that is the perfect recipe. That's what the best players, that's what your Rory McIlroys of the world do. Yes, they hit up on it, but they hit high draws. So the next stage to that will be to say, let's introduce the body rotation and what I call catch the club before it hits the ground. So we're going to make the same movement this way, but before the club hits the ground, we're going to catch it with body rotation. So my body rotation starts to get introduced a little bit sooner. So we do the same movements. We try and put the club on the ground, but we let the body catch up much sooner. And what you're going to start to see now is that we start to get working towards something that looks a little better. We start to get towards something where the golf club is lowering. Don't get that confused with shallowing. Shallowing will be when we sort of change the shaft angle. We're not doing that so much, but we're looking to get the club to lower, which gets it to be more on the inside, and then we catch it with body turn. So we're not now clipping the ground, but we're starting to get these movements where the arms are lowering, the body's rotating, and then we finish in this full position. What I'm really looking for, if I can slow my swing down or I can pop it on video, I want my golf club at last parallel. So when the club shaft is level with the ground, I really want that club head not in line with my hands or parallel to this alignment stick. I want the club head more behind my hands. Now, because we're hitting the ball on the up, we have to do that significantly more than we would do with an iron. I don't want to get too much into that in this video, but it's something called D-playing. So this is what I'm looking for. So the more I can make this little movement of club down, body turns, we start to get that. We start to get the hands and arms into a good position. We start to get the club head into a really nice position relative to the hands, and then we can go ahead and swing through. Now, the only addition to this would be, from that face on, what is my body weight doing? Up, club goes down, what am my weight doing? It's going forwards. So the big message here is I'm not hitting up on the ball simply by taking my circle and shifting it back. That was what I did in the first shot, the first demonstration that gave me that high, weak slice. Moving the circle back to hit up on it is the worst thing you can do. It's going to create slices even if you're not a slicer to begin with. What we are doing is we're taking our circle and we are shifting it. And actually when I shift it, I can still have my hips moving forwards, but I'm twisting my circle more out to the right. That causes the swing direction to be more to the right. It causes the low point to be much sooner, and I get all of those things that I want. Now at this stage, I haven't hit a ball, and you haven't hit a ball. So what we can do is we can start to bring a golf ball in, but there's one little addition that I want to make in this little drill to make it visually easy for you to do this. A ramp. Now this is, it's just made of foam, super light. You can see what kind of angle it is, quite a shallow angle. This is great as just a visual cue. I want to place it in front of the golf ball, and I want to actually place it slightly on an angle. So this would be in front of the golf ball at sort of 90 degrees to where I'm trying to go, but I'm actually going to try and spin it around a little bit so it's at a slight angle, and you'll see that from that camera angle there. What this is going to do now is it's going to give me a visual. It's going to give me a visual that I want to be putting the club on the ground as my focus, collecting that with rotation so that my golf club bottoms out, collects the golf ball and works up the ramp. Now, I'm not going to make contact with that. It's purely there for a visual cue. Visual cues are so powerful if done in the right way. So what I would love you to do now as the next progression is have a couple of rehearsals and then clip the ball. Nowhere near full speed. So I'm going up, club on the ground, collect it before it hits the ground, and we go through. Now, I actually caught the ground a little bit before the ball. But you saw that ball flight. It's only gone 100 yards. It wasn't particularly useful on this hole. A little bit right to left. Look at my attack angle. Way, way positive, but look at my path out to the right. I'm going up, club on the ground, club on the ground. Do that a couple of times and then catch it with the body turn. And again, not particularly far. That ball is bounding down the fairway, but you can see the curve on it, out to the right, curving back. I've got my full swing kit here. That's giving me the data. I can see my path. I can see my attack angle. I can see everything falling into place because I've done the right exercises. I've worked myself through the levels. The next phase is just to start to introduce a little bit more speed. Put the club on the ground, catch it with the body turn.